Alright, welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're gonna see the Thor Ragnarok reworked abilities, and it's looking pretty good, guys. But first of all, let's see his prestige. So 10,690 as a 5-star, and before it had 10,688, so 2 more prestige. So it's pretty good that it stayed there. And if we start out by 6 stars as a rank 3, he has 13,744, and he will have 13,740, so 4 less. So it's like the same thing, so that's good that it stayed that way. But let's see his abilities now. So he has high energy damage. He's great versus armor stacking opponents, and you will see why. So let's see here. So he suffers 90% less duration on incoming shocks. So it's like you're gonna take 1 tick from the shocks, basically immune to it. Then each time Thor inflicts a shock, he has a 16% chance to stun the opponent for 2 seconds. I don't know if it was 16% before, but yeah, 16% is pretty good. So if you inflict a shock, immediately gets stunned for 2 seconds too. So it's a lot. So each time Thor inflicts a shock debuff, he has a 45% chance to inflict an armor break debuff. And it also removes armor ups. So that's 45% chance each time you inflict a shock. That's a pretty high chance, man. You can stack up those armor breaks, and it's pretty good, man. So after, when Boon of the Gods activates, each time Thor gains 40 hits, his combo meter, or he's struck 20 times, is like the same thing. He's activating the Boon of Gods. And yeah, Boon of Gods, yeah, it gives us some power, and if we get struck by a special attack, it gets removed. So we know that. It's good that way because, yeah, it's pretty balanced as a defender. And then 30% chance to autoblock the opponent, or the attack when the opponent intercepts Thor. So it's pretty good too. And it also can activate the parry, so be careful, don't intercept Thor Ragnarok. But then, when we inflict a stun, if the opponent has armor break and we inflict a stun, they take some physical damage. 250% physical damage of the attack. So, yeah, man, it's pretty nice. So if you're gonna have some shocks, you can inflict this stun. And if the opponent has armor breaks, you're gonna do some pretty good extra damage. And then from his SP1, so you have a 75% chance to inflict a 1.8 seconds stun debuff. But if you have 40 hits or more, this chance is increased for 100%. So this is pretty amazing because there's 1 stun debuff. If you have armor break on the opponent, there's some energy damage. And then his SP2, he has a 100% chance to inflict an armor break debuff for 16 seconds, which is a lot. And then this armor break is paused while Boon of the Gods is active. So that's nice. And then the SP3 gets a really nice buff, man. So it can only deal 20% damage, as we know. But if the opponent is suffering from an armor break debuff, it gets increased to 30%. So it can only deal 20% to the opponent. But if he has an armor break, it's increased to 30%. So that's pretty nice. And then we have 100% chance to shock the opponent for 10 seconds, and 100% chance to activate Thunder's God's Wrath passive. So it is basically the Boon of the Gods, and this is unaffected by ability accuracy reduction. And also when we attack the opponent, we have a 40% chance to inflict a shock, which is pretty amazing because each time you deal a shock, you have 60% chance to stun the opponent, which is gonna do pretty crazy damage. And also, if you inflict a shock, you have a 45% chance to inflict an armor break debuff, which means you're gonna have a ton of armor breaks, a ton of shocks, and some stuns. And also, you're gonna have that 250% physical damage because you're gonna have armor breaks and shocks on the opponent, and stuns on the opponent. So that's gonna be really, really nice. And then the Synergies ability is actually so much better. So when we activate the God's Wrath, we have 2118% attack or not percent, 2118 attack rating, which is pretty high. And also, each shock debuff reduces the opponent's ability accuracy by 20%. So with 5 shocks, 100% minus 100% ability accuracy, which is pretty amazing, man. You can stack those shocks like crazy. You have, how much do you have? You have 100% chance to inflict 1 on the SP3, and then 40% chance per hit. So that is pretty great. Even on parries, if the opponent, like, if you block some hits that do contact, you can shock them, which is pretty amazing. If you got some good luck right there, you can do some pretty nasty stuff. But let's see the synergies now. So with Hela, he heals 10%. I think that was the same. And then with Hulk Ragnarok and Hulk Immortal and Overseer, 15% attack rating while Thunder God's Wrath is active, which is pretty nice. And then with Loki, when he's struck for the first time, he has a 100% chance to gain a combo shield. It's not that big of a deal. And then he gains 5% perfect block chance, 6% health. Yeah, the synergies are not pretty great, but I like the signature ability where you gain a lot of attack rating, because yeah, if you're gonna activate this where if you have armor breaks on the opponent and you stun them, you deal 250% of the damage that you dealt with this attack. And if you gain that much attack, you're gonna deal some pretty good damage after the SP3. And yeah, those shocks are gonna do pretty good damage too. The armor breaks are gonna stack up, and yeah, overall I think this buff is actually pretty useful. So he's still a pretty high prestige champion, and now like above 40 hits, he's gonna be really good. Because yeah, above 40 hits, you got guaranteed stun from the SP1. And yeah, but I think if you want to see the damage, you want to activate SP3. But yeah, man, maybe some people are gonna use him now. He's basically shock immune. Yeah, I really like that. So we're gonna test out our 6-star rank 2 Thor Ragnarok when we get the buff live in game. I only got mine like at SIG 20, but yeah, a lot of people have him at SIG 200, and I think this signature ability, it is very useful, especially because of the attack rating. But yeah, the ability accuracy reduction can be useful too. But yeah, overall pretty happy about this buff. So yeah guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.